You know, to see the boys out in the community, to see the culture grow, to see leaders come through. You know, what we do on the field is really an outcome of all of these other things. They got to go. It has to go hand in hand, and I'm just really pleased where it's at.
Well, you talk about buying into it. Well, we've just had Signed Up Saturday with Bristol Rugby, a fantastic day of exposure, announcing these 9 new recruits that will be joining Bristol Rugby for the 18-19 season. And you've been very clear about your strategy for recruitment, that they were going to have Champions Cup aspirations, that they would have a pathway to representing England, and also a player pathway for Bristolian products as well through the academy and into the first team.
Without a doubt, I think, you know, the recruitment and retention of any club is crucial, and having a really solid process. So what I introduced there was to make sure that we had, again, our clarity on the type of player that we want and where everyone fitted. And then you're able to look at all the lists, because there's so many players there and there's so much talent. But when you go through it, you can look through it with that in mind. And there's no doubt every single player who we've you know, come through and been able to explain the vision, which is crucial. Don't just come and play Bristol Rugby. There's a bigger part of it. Will fit in. It fits into that plan. And whether they're going to help us be Champions Cup, whether the players like Harry Thacker and others that are English qualified to use the program we have here to achieve their goals of playing for England, or whether it's our young Bristolians, and you know, we signed 3 of them, you know, Capon, Powell and Dunn long term, because they again can achieve both of those as Bristolians and young English players, and also play Champions Cup rugby.
And how incredible for these academy products and younger to be able to be part of a same club that have the likes of John Afoa, a World Cup winner, an All Black, and Samoan international Jordan Lay.
Well, they're going to learn so much for these guys, but it's only part of the development. I mean, so much work has been done from those in all our combination clubs, all our schools. And when I first arrived there, the first thing I did just do a little recce, see what's going on. And I saw what Mike Hall and Mark Irish and Sean Mars were doing in the academy. Saw the work in the schools and the coaches in schools, obviously with my kids as well, just getting an understanding. And you realise, geez, there's so much talent. The worst thing that I could have done was saying, okay, we don't need that. Let's just go and get a lot of foreigners and players over here. It's because it's not part of our vision, and that's why having that is really important, because all our decisions are made based on achieving that vision. And there's so many young people now that are looking at it and go, I want them to be wearing Bristol shirts out there. I want them to be going, geez, I want to play for Bristol. That's my home, and I want to be part of it. And that's the responsibility that we have.
Now, I know you're far too modest and humble to talk about the fact that it's often you that has attracted some of these players to the club. But there is a bonus when you've worked with these players. You know what to expect from them, and the same can be true vice versa.
I think the biggest thing is when the bonus of looking for the right player. If I've worked with them before, it just highlights it's not just their rugby ability, it's what they can do within their team environment. And you know, the guys I've worked before are great men. They're good people. And they got great work ethic. And you know, I know people outside might think, you know, oh, we got this sign and we're trying to buy this and get this sort of player. But every club is doing it. The number one thing is we want to be a team, an absolute team that works hard. We don't want to be individuals, because individuals won't get you success. I mean, Charles Piatow, for instance, and Stephen Luatua, they haven't won a championship. They're quality players, but they are only part of the picture for everyone to do their bit, and that's what we're trying to create. And we're on our way of creating as you know, a team that's based on hard work.
So we've had a huge weekend, the Signed Up Saturday. It seemed everyone was on tenterhooks watching it unfold with those 9 new recruits. Just talk us through a few of the headlines. Of course, I guess the biggest headline was John.
Yeah, John Afoa was massive, mainly because, you know, having a really good tight head prop is really important. But John's skill level, I mean, I coached John for 8 years, and when he first came through, and he's a back rower or a back in a prop's body, and people can see the way we play, and having those skills is really important. But he's so durable, you know, he's so many games that he gets through because he looks after himself, and he was part of my leadership group. So what he can do on and off the field and mentor our type 5 forwards and the group is going to be huge, and so I'm really pleased he's on board.
And it's evident that you've really targeted that sort of whole front row bolstering as well.
Yeah, it was an area that I looked at, and and people can see that we have to have, even in this season, to go on the Premiership, and certainly when I won the Premiership with Newcastle, we had and then also the European Cup with Northampton, the pack was massive and depth right across, because it can be pretty brutal and physical there, and if you don't have a good pack of forwards up front, so getting John on board was massive, and the other front rowers.
And you've certainly got that experience. You talk about having the experience of, say, Premiership winners. You've got Pro 12 winners as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ali Muldowney, another big tight forward, who's another back rower that's in a tight forward's body, and our fans can see how we're trying to play, and we want to be able to have the grunt up front, and people like John and Ali bring that experience and are quite happy to roll up the sleeves and get into it. But when we open the game up and the roles our tight forwards play, I mean, these guys have unbelievable skills. Jake Heenan's another one that is real tough mentally as well, and have been able to play across the front row. And the thing about Ali and Jake is they're all English qualified. I mean, that was a big part of us in our vision. At this stage we're only 50%. This year, only 50% of our players were English qualified. Going forward next year, we're looking at over 70% of our squad being able to play for England, which is important with our vision.
Well, you talk about this playing for England. Of course, Harry Thacker, another one to look at, under 20s that has already got England representation. Really exciting prospect.
I watched the guy from afar, and I was looking at him go, wow, and again, the role that our hooker plays. I mean, sure, the most important thing is being able to throw that line out, but the role and the ability and skill are another back in their body. So when I look at our forward pack, I want our forward pack to be a team that's fair, not just because of physical ability, but because they can move a ball. They can use their footwork, and and Harry's someone too, which I've tracked his career since I saw this big amazing try and where he was, and he probably wasn't getting the game time that he needs to go to the next level, and I just think our rugby program just suits him perfectly. There's going to be a lot of competition because we've got Sean Moulton from Exeter. He's coming from an unbelievable environment, a winning environment, and as I said, we've got to have depth to make sure that we have competition and everyone's at their best.
It is interesting, though, that there is this commonality now within the Bristol Sport group of looking beyond the statistics of what a player can deliver on the field and actually what they can deliver within the community.
Yes, I mean, it's really important, and I think just talking with Lee and just watching the footballers and the thing that I love, like when I watch the game, is you can see that they're a team and they work unbelievably off the ball. And that only comes also because the culture that's generated, and I think it's the same with Andreas with the basketball, and I had the pleasure of meeting Gareth and with the girls, and I watched the girls play basketball as well. I think we're all on the same picture around. We want people that are here for a bigger cause than just themselves playing sport, and I think that's coming right down obviously from Steve and John Lansdowne, and that's the whole thing about the community, is that you come in and playing sport, and we've all been part of it, is so much more enjoyable when it's more than just the sport, that you're actually making an impact, whether you're signing an autograph, saying hello to someone, shaking hands with someone, talking to our supporters. It just lifts people, and I see it constantly around the place, whether it's the footballers, the basketballers, or the men or the ladies. Everyone's doing a great job, and it's very privileged to be part of it.
Well, just as the rugby club's vision is to inspire the community through rugby success, Bristol Sport's vision is to inspire sport in Bristol and beyond, and even your own family now is adopting new sports.
Yeah, I mean, this is the advantage of, my daughter played basketball in Ireland. She's 10 years old, and, there's no basketball in the school, but we went to an awards dinner, and at the awards dinner I sat with Lee and Lee Johnson, and we had Gareth at the basketball with the ladies, and Fiona and Hannah, and Fiona's the captain, and she's actually from Ireland as well. And we were just talking about, basketball, there's nowhere to go. And they said, well, the girls do Thursday night, it was Wednesday, come along. So we went there, and my daughter got involved, and it's a fantastic setup. And Maya, one of the star players from Spain, who plays for the ladies, is actually the coach. And so my daughter's in there, and if it wasn't for that involvement, and it's just another example of networking, helping each other, and my daughter's loving playing basketball for the Bristol Flyers Academy.
How much do you think it's helped with the rugby signings particularly, that Bristol really feels like it's on the map? Of course, your season's going fantastically well in the Championship, and City's season is going well, and Flyers' season is going well. Everyone, it seems, is winning, and there is a national spotlight, if you like, on Ashton Gate and Bristol as a city as a whole.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think, but this is the whole bigger picture. You know, that it gives us all purpose and reason for why we do what we do, and to sit back and I feel really pleased for the Lansdowns, because that's exactly what the vision was. To bring all of these people together to make a difference in our community. And what I'm finding when we talk about Bristolians, it's not just we're talking about Bristol people, and we're not all from Bristol, but people who live here are getting inspired. But again, so many messages from people around the world that are that are Bristolians. And I know in Signed Up Saturday, people were saying where they were, and it was interesting to see the places around the world where they're watching it all. And so it's such a big impact that everyone's making, and it's a credit to everyone in the whole group.
And it was interesting seeing a few of the football players getting involved with Signed Up Saturday, perhaps suggesting a few signings from their point of view.
Yeah, Joe Bryan was wondering if we're going to get Sanchez, and would be quite happy to help the footballers out with that one. But no, it's great, and there's a really good relationship, I know, between all the players and staff too, and and that connection it helps us, whether you're a player or a staff, to keep learning from each other and keep supporting each other.
Now, I know you talk a lot with other coaches from different sports, but also within the world of rugby, and you must have raised a slight eyebrow when you saw Pep Guardiola's comments about the markings on the pitch, the strange markings on the pitch here at Ashton Gate.
I think I was really pleased for Lee, because obviously these coaches are world famous, and Lee is such a humble person, and for him to have the opportunity to meet these guys, and not in awe, but to learn. And the thing that impresses me most about Lee is that he's going to have a really long, successful career, mainly because he's so hungry to get better and to improve, and he's a good person. So Guardiola, probably never seen rugby before, but didn't realise that we play here too, and he thought there's a little bit of a code and stuff. But Lee and I always talk about the size of the field. I think Lee wants it tighter. I like it a little bit wider, but it's great to have the banter, but also that this wonderful stadium can cater for both of us.
Well, you talk about not being in awe. That's not what it's about, is it? It is about the fact that you can always learn more from other coaches and other things that they're doing. I was quite surprised when I saw a few of the journalists sort of critiquing Lee almost for wanting to speak with the likes of Jose Mourinho or Pep Guardiola after a match. Look
at all the great coaches. Throughout, that's what they've done. They've, been able to, be mentored, be able to learn, to, travel. And I was fortunate when I was with the New Zealand Rugby Union. We spent a lot of time in American sports, across to Australia, spent a lot of time across the experienced coaches and the best ones that have been around for a long time. The game continually is to evolve, and if you don't as a coach, you'll be left behind. And but as long as it's no different from what we say to the players. If you're coachable and have an attitude of thirst for knowledge and learning, and that's what my favourite saying is about. The only competitive, sustainable advantage we have is the ability to learn faster than the opposition. And so making the most of the opportunities to get out and learn, whether it's from business, it's from the forces, there's so many areas that you can learn either by reading or meeting people, and and I find even talking to people I get inspired. Whether in the hospital, there's one particular person I spoke to when I was back home that inspired me in the situations that they were going through. So there's so many chances you can, as long as you keep your mind open and you're first to get the knowledge about being better. Well, making the most of your opportunities, you've certainly done that with 13 wins from 13 games, just 1 point dropped so far in the Championship this season. The next 3 games, though, you've spoken about as really defining the season. Yeah, without a doubt, we've put them over here as 3 internationals, and we know that obviously the when we say internationals, it's saying that we need to play and prepare like they're internationals. And as I've said before, that if we are on top of our game and at our best and prepare our best, then we should deal with these 3 games. But that has to happen day to day. You know, you've seen in sport, anyone can beat anyone, and we are really pushing day to day to make sure mentally we're on the job, and there's competition right through. So yeah, it's a huge game this week, Bedford, and then we'll move to the next one, Ealing, and then London Scottish.
Now, whilst winning is always lovely, I know that it's not something that completely governs your coaching method, is it? It's more about the processes, and you focus on doing the things right, and the result will take care of itself.
Yeah, I think the big thing, it's only an issue if you focus on the outcome, you know, and I'm not, you know, there's no doubt we want to win every game we play from this day forever and ever. But sport's not like that. So if you focus on the outcome, then you're going to become an unstuck. So whether we win or whether we lose, whatever the outcome, the beauty of having structures and systems is that you can review your game based on that. What do we do well in relation to what we're trying to do and what we work on, and what could we do better? And whether that's as a team or as individuals, and that's what our big focus is. Then you don't get hung up, or if you lose a game, you know, or you win a game, you don't get carried away as well. So we just keep it real like that, and this will keep us in good stead. So the outcome is the outcome. It's about the process.